Hello and welcome back to what is quite possibly the final part of our whip run, which is going to be part 7. Now, in case you don't remember last time, we got the Guardian Tale, and we got the all 4 Lord Souls, which, let's see, where is it? We got Covenant of Artorias by beating Sif. We got the final Lord Soul with 4 kings, and we cashed those in to open the Kiln to the First Flame. And we started the DLC and got up to this point, around halfway through. Which, there's something that I noticed about the whip. If you remember, in the beginning, I said that it was kind of weird, or that it was throwing me off, back in part 1, because this one was made out of metal, whereas I'm used to it being made out of leather. But the description here says it's made out of leather. But it doesn't look like it's made out of leather, it doesn't sound like it's made out of leather, but it says it's made out of leather. But that doesn't make any sense to me. Now, not intended for battle, that makes sense, but just like with it being called leather, virtually ineffective against armor and tough scales, but quite formidable against enemies with exposed skin. I've used this against enemies with armor, and the poise wasn't super great. It didn't do a good job of stunning them, but the damage was fine. But anyways, moving on. Now, I tend to just run past this guy because there isn't much point in killing him, and also he has the poise of a god. But this time, I figured pyromancies are very powerful, so why don't we try? Which, great fireball, all 4 stunned him. Don't know about fire orb because they died in 1 hit. I went back after recording, and it took... I don't remember if I was using fireball or fire orb, but whichever one I was using, it took 2 to stun. I think it may have been fireball, but not sure. But moving on into the Chasm of the Abyss, there's 1 more pyromancy to be gained, which we let them go on purpose because we didn't need the materials. That's definitely it. But I thought that the final pyromancy was back here because I remembered getting a piece of magic, or like a magic spell here, and I thought that, you know, it's what I need, but sadly it was dark bead, which was not what I needed, because dark bead, if we can find it, is a sorcery, which we're gonna get that when we do sorceries, but that's not this run. So at this point I didn't know where it was, so I figured gonna have to thoroughly go through this area, which I've never done before. But what I have done before is knocked that guy off in order to save Siffy Boy, who, now that they're free and safe, can howl at us and give us a free great shield that we're not going to use. And we can summon them to help us, or quote-unquote help us, with Manus, because I don't know why, but Sif just does not like to be near Manus. I know why, but eventually we head on down, and we get Black Flame, the final pyromancy, which, there we go. The one and only in the DLC, which we can count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. That's all 20 pyromancies. And I am going to test them all. I've tested most of them, but I'm going to test all of them, or at least as many as I can. And then I'm going to do like a tier ranking of them. just to show, like, in my experience, how good is each one. And I don't know if I'm going to drop that after this or after doing all of the Dark Souls 1 runs. But I'm definitely going to be doing it and, like, dropping it before we start Dark Souls 2, so keep an eye out for that. But last time we got the crest key. This time we're using the crest key. And we're gonna go talk to Gough, because he is one of my favorite NPCs, and we need him for Kalameet.
A visitor, have we? Thou must be the one who freed Artorias. An old friend he was. Thanks to thee, he left this world with honor intact. And here I am, retired and blind. Of little help to thee, I'm afraid. Dragons shall never be forgotten. We knights fought valiantly, but for every one of them, we lost 70 of our own. Exhilaration, pride, hatred, rage. The dragons teased out our dearest emotions. Thou will understand one day. With our twilight, old thoughts return in great waves of nostalgia.
I don't know what he means by 70. Does that mean for every one dragon they killed, they lost 3 men? Does score mean like 100? Does it mean 1,000? I don't know.
There's very little to be said. What good is a dog with no hairs to hunt? But I'm lucky to be alive, I suppose. There's very little to be said. What good is a dog with no hairs to hunt? But I'm lucky to be alive, I suppose. Farewell, human. Lead thy life as thou seest fit. Good morrow. Is the black dragon posing thee duress? Yes, I thought as much. He's called Kalameet. Ferocious dragon indeed. Even mighty Anna Londa dared not provoke his ire. I see little good coming from this, but thy intent is to persevere to the bitter end. Good, good. What is bravery without a dash of recklessness? I've taken a liking to thee, and I owe thee much for thy service to Artorias. Now, watch, and see how Gough hunts dragons. Yes, a truer shot was never loosed. That bat will be grounded for a good spell. The rest is in thine hands. I await good tidings. Dragon slaying, knighthood's highest calling.
I will never get tired of listening to him or watching that cutscene. It's just so good. I love it. But since he shot him down, we can head on in. And at this point, I've been relying ever more on the pyromancies, which this is the whip run, so we want to use the whip. But weapons that poke or go in a straight line like this aren't good for bosses like Sif and Kalameet, but the two-handed one might be better. So I'm gonna try that. If it doesn't work, we can go back to pyromancies, but with that being said, I will let this attempt play itself out. definitely not my best showing, but we beat him, and we take that. You take the wins where you can, even if they're not super clean. But part of that was because of me, part of that was because of the whip, and just how it operates. And part of that was because of, it feels like really strange RNG from Kalameet. Like when they just kept walking towards us, and they were basically stomping on our head, but just refused to attack, which was super weird. But anyways, we beat him with the whip plus 15. We didn't use the Pyromancy Flame. The Crimson Set plus 5. Ring of Steel Protection. Wolf Ring. 13 sips of the Estus. And we beat him at level 91 with 35 Vitality, 25 Endurance, 40 Dexterity, 22 Resistance. And we beat him first try. And having taken them down, we can head off back to Gough. And we come back and we can give him the good news.
Why, thou hast defeated Kalameet? Wondrously played. Lord Gwyn's blessing upon thee. That beast will never take to the skies again. This great bow, I shan't need it, but no dragons to hunt. I know not if a human could even operate it. But here, thy need outweighs mine. I suspect thou hast taken a gander at it, but the dark of the abyss, which swallowed poor Artorias, threatens to devour our entire land of Ulyssil. It seems that this dire fate is unavoidable, but, seduced by a dark serpent or no, they awoke that thing themselves and drove it mad. One's demise is always one's own making. If thine wish is to succeed poor Artorias and challenge the spread of the dark, then thou must face Manus, father of the abyss. The dark emanates from Manus himself. Even if this land shall expire, thou may be able to prevent further corrosion. But even so, one day the flames will fade, and only dark will remain, and even a legend such as thyself can do nothing to stop that. Now, do not mistake my words. I cherish my work. Wood carving is a nuanced art. I would have much to talk about with that blacksmith. In truth, how is the old chap, I wonder? Still hammering away, I should hope. Now, do not... Farewell, proud human. May every honor be bestowed upon thee.
Well, Gough told us that we must go face Manus, and he's one of the best NPCs, so we have to listen to him. And so we make our way down, and with 20 Estus, I will let this attempt play itself out. It always happens. There's always one point in the fight where me and Manus are on one side of the arena and Sif is on the complete opposite side. And they just refuse to come anywhere near Manus. Which, on one hand, understandable. On the other hand, I summon you to help me, so. But we talk to them, get some very nice insight, and we beat Manus with the whip plus 15, Pyromancy Flame plus 5 with a little bit of Fireball, Fire Orb, and Great Fireball. And we used a little bit of the Blood Shield, and beat him with the Crimson Set plus 5, Ring of Steel Protection, Wolf Ring, 9 Sips of the Estus, and the Silver Pendant. And we beat him at level 93 with 35 Vitality, 25 Endurance, 40 Dexterity, 24 Resistance, and we beat him first try. And Gough mentioned that we had to go beat Manus, so I thought maybe, like Artorias, he'd have something to say about Manus.
Again, legend of humans, it is always an honor to speak with thee. Now, do not farewell, proud human. May every honor be bestowed upon thee.
Sadly, nothing to say about Manus, but it still is a very nice voice. I'm normally not a fan of distorted voices, but he makes it work really well, so. But actually made a mistake. I did record this while I was coming down to try to get enough souls for one final level, which, as you can see, gets Fireball. And yeah, stuns every other time, but Pancake. And after that, we come back to Elizabeth.
I have awaited thee. Thou hast rescued Princess Dusk, and rid us of that terrible primeval human, even halting the spread of the abyss. I salute the grandeur of thine enterprise. Please allow me to express my gratitude. I thank thee, as do we all. I will remember thee, but I will keep thy story to myself. This is the best way, for thou art come from a time far ahead. No one will sing thy praises, but yet thy greatness shall live on, for it shall be my purpose to remember all thou hast done for us. Was thine eye glancing hither? Thou needst not hide thy wonder. I am a mushroom, after all. May the flames guide thee.
As a pyromancer, that's kind of the point. But yes, they will. But now we can move on. Which, before heading off to Gwyn, we got a 4th Titanite slab from Kalameet, or Kalameet's boss area. And so I figured 4 Titanite slabs, 4 pieces of armor. Which, we haven't used the Pyromancer set in a while. Because we got the Crimson set really early on. Like, we got it when we went to Blighttown, which Blighttown is like the first area we beeline to get the whip. And so we haven't spent much time with the Pyromancer set, which Pyromancies are kind of like half this run. And so I figured it might be good to give it a little bit of love here at the end, which, again, upgrading armor, a lot of numbers, not going through them all, but you can see them if you really care about, like, the specific numbers. But just like that, we get the full Pyromancer set to plus 10. No more armor to be upgraded. And with that, nothing to do but head off to Gwyn now. So, see you there. off we go. Actually, do you have anything to say?
Oh. The Lord Vessel is satiated, magnificent. You are the righteous successor to Gwyn, the new great lord, and I am Kingseeker no more. Your acquaintance was an honor. I must admit, I am fond of you humans. May you enjoy serendipity, and may the Age of Fire perpetuate.
He said that we're the new Great Lord, and that he's no longer Kingseeker. But a lord and a king aren't the same thing. Which, a little confusing there, but moving on, we can head on down to Gwyn, which I've been taking things slower this part, but I'm not gonna go the entire Kiln of the First Flame. You don't have to see all of that. But what you can see is that halberd knight over there disappear with a magic act. Simply by us quitting the game and loading back in, poof, they're gone. Still don't know why they do that, but it happens. And again, I've gotten pretty decent at pairing the Black Knights, and up to this point we've been doing pretty good until here. That like drag across the ground attack, if the first, it like hits you in two parts, and if the first part hits you, it stuns you long enough for the second part to hit you, which does a lot of damage. But we didn't die, we killed him, and at this point I figured probably a good idea to look at this, and that's nothing but blues. Like, outside of curse resist and poise, which is the same, nothing but blues. Same thing here. And then here, it's a little more weighty, but still just about everything else is blue, except for this, which is way less defensive. The other three parts were like slightly more, this is way less, so we're gonna keep that on. But from here, we can summon Solaire. And I wanted to go in at full health, so we took one more sip. And a little bit of waiting, and Solaire pops himself up. Which, a few reasons to summon Solaire. First of all, because we've summoned him before. Second of all, he's got the fire and he's associated with the sun, which sun is made out of fire. Pyromancy is fire, so figure that makes sense. And third of all, Gwyn is weak to parrying, and the whip can't parry. So many, many reasons to summon Solaire here. But take note, we're coming in with 18 Estus, and with that being said, I will let this attempt play itself out. And just like that, Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, is fallen. Which, pretty easy. I mean, it's a lot easier when you have Solaire to pull aggro, but he's not as hard as I would imagine. even alone. Now, I was gonna drop a prism stone out of respect, but we didn't have any prism stones, so sad to say. But we beat him with the whip plus 15, pyromancy flame plus 5, with great fireball, and that was it. And bit of the blood shield plus 14, the pyromancer set plus 10, except for the pants, which are the crimson plus 5, ring of steel protection, wolf ring, 1 sip of the Estus, because we came in with 18, and we beat him at level 95 with 36 vitality, 25 endurance, 40 dexterity, 25 resistance, and we beat him first try. And from here we move over to this for visual cohesion, and we're a pyromancer. We're loyal to the flame, and so truly we have no other option but to link it. Now, if you like this, then maybe drop a like, maybe subscribe, who knows? Or you can just check back in, because there's more of these coming, but not just stuff like this. I'm going to be doing guides, tier lists, all sorts of stuff, just to expand things out. So I'll see you then, hopefully, and yeah.